Welcome back to LEGO Battlebots Season 3. Kicking off this episode, we've got a match between a 2-0 bot and 0-2 bot as Eye of the Storm takes on Siege Engine. Eye of the Storm take the win over Retribution in the last fight, though that was a very tough fight for them, while Siege Engine shockingly got knocked out by Hammerhead, putting them at 0-2. Eye of the Storm wins this fight, and they'll be 3-0 and have automatically clinched a tournament spot. But if Eye of the Storm wins, that means Siege Engine loses, then it would be eliminated from the tournament, going 0-3. Siege Engine is capable of getting control of Eye of the Storm, but it's going to be very difficult to do that, as Eye of the Storm is still a very powerful full-body spinner. It's going to be very interesting to see how these two bots interact, and if Siege Engine can keep its tournament hopes alive. Let's see what happens down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Siege Engine getting rid of Eye of the Storm in the box, but Eye of the Storm able to get away, spins up, and Siege Engine takes the shots. Now trying to get Eye of the Storm into the corner, but Eye of the Storm able to escape again. Siege Engine really getting ready this time and gets them out of the arena. Siege Engine able to get a little bit of control over Eye of the Storm, not really much, but once they got him fully underneath, they just threw the full body spinner out of the arena. Siege Engine keeps its tournament hopes alive, as Eye of the Storm loses its chance to clinch a playoff spot in this round of fight cards. Next up, we have Switchback at 1-1 taking on Unnecessary Violence at 0-2. Switchback took a dominant win over Extinguisher in his last fight, while Unnecessary Violence got completely mauled by Reticle. Unnecessary Violence will be eliminated from the tournament if they lose this fight. Switchback would be in a good position to make a tournament if they win, but both bots will be 1-2 if Unnecessary Violence wins. Switchback, I'd say, I'd say Unnecessary Violence has the more powerful weapon, but Switchback is more durable and has better ground game, and responds better to being flipped. Unnecessary Violence is only available in a certain angle, while Switchback can self-right if completely flipped over. But we'll see which of these big, very powerful verts will win down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Both bots get between. Oh, there goes a wedge off of Unnecessary Violence. And Switchback just using the lower clearance of its drum in order to get underneath Unnecessary Violence's spinner. Almost got flipped over there, but very right. Oh, there's completely flipped. Unnecessary Violence is upside down. Trying to do what they can to get back up. It's Switchback just ripping little chunks off. And that is gonna be the fight right there. This is gonna be it. And the countdown has started. Switchback is gonna move to a 2-1 record and be 1 win away from clinching a playoff spot, while Unnecessary Violence is eliminated. Switchback's drum was lower than Unnecessary Violence's disc, allowing it to get underneath and just flip it over, and that was the fight. Basically, Switchback getting a good second win in a row, while Unnecessary Violence now sits at 0-3, and because of that guaranteed losing record, it is eliminated from the tournament, but will get a fourth fight, along with every other bot. Fight number 3 sees Gigabyte take on Rookie Inverse. Inverse took down Big Dill, while Gigabyte ripped apart Earth from the Elementals. So both bots coming off of wins over rookies, some very less durable rookies, and trying to get wins over bigger opponents. This Gigabyte trying to redeem itself, of course, after its poor Season 2 finish. Inverse trying to prove itself for the first time. Inverse and Gigabyte both have decently powerful weapons, but the ground game of both is not that good, and the big exposedness of them weapons could be a disadvantage to either one. And if Inverse gets one lucky shot into a certain part of Gigabyte, that could destabilize the whole thing. If Gigabyte gets a shot into those weak weapon supports, or at least the things that distance the weapon of Inverse off the floor, then it could be disastrous. So both bots have a big opportunity here, and they're gonna have to take advantage of it if they want a guaranteed spot in the tournament. Let's see what happens down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Both bots picking up their massive weapons, and there's a little hit to kick things off. Oh! Inverse gets toppled by Gigabyte to try and get back up. Gigabyte lands another shot, and a third shot there. Inverse getting back up, getting that weapon back into speed. Ooh, there's a shot, and there goes one of those weapon supports. That's what I was talking about. Inverse can no longer use their weapon in the correct way. They'll just fall over. So they have to go upside down, and that is gonna be it. A wheel has come off, the other one is off the ground. Gigabyte celebrating. This fight is over, and Gigabyte will be moving to 2-1 while Inverse falls to 1-2. Gigabyte's weapon was just too powerful in this case. Inverse took some shots, lost a weapon support, and then an entire wheel just got ripped off. Gigabyte taking a strong and dominant win. That's their second win in a row as Inverse falls to 1-2, and Gigabyte rises to it, almost having a playoff spot locked in. Our midway fight sees Cobalt taking on Hammerhead in a battle of 2 1-1 bots. Hammerhead, of course, taking that win over Siege Engine in the first fight, while Cobalt got knocked out by Deadlift of all bots. So both bots trying to get into a very good record here, trying to go to 2-1. Cobalt, of course, has the ground game advantage and the weapon power advantage in this scenario. But Hammerhead is very tough, and Cobalt's weapon is not that reliable, and it's got a very high center of mass, so they could flip at any moment. And it's going to be tough for Hammerhead to get those engagements since Cobalt's wedge is so low, and they're so good at delivering bots into that weapon. It's two very clashing designs, but let's see what happens down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Oh, Cobalt getting underneath Hammerhead as expected, flipping them over, trying to get them into the screws. That doesn't work. Hammerhead able to escape. This goes right back into Cobalt's weapon and takes another shot. Cobalt's still getting underneath, flips Hammerhead over again and gets them out of the arena. Knockout. What a dominant performance by Cobalt. They got underneath Hammerhead in every single engagement. And Hammerhead just couldn't do anything to respond. That weapon just wouldn't do anything, and they got thrown out of the arena. Cobalt going to 2-1 while Hammerhead falls to 1-2. For our fifth fight, we have Reticle taking on Huge. Reticle sitting at 2-0 after wins over against bots that were great matchups for it, and now it's got another one here against Huge. Huge just got annihilated by Titan this last fight, so they're looking to bounce back here. It's going to be incredibly difficult against a massive horizontal spinner, one of the biggest possible counters to Huge. Huge does not have the knockout power to defeat Reticle, so I don't know what it's going to have to do. But Reticle just needs to spin up and just hit Huge over and over again until it shatters. Let's see if it can do that, or Huge can somehow pull off the win down the arena. Let the bot battle begin. Huge charging at Reticle, but Reticle able to get away, get up to speed. But they have boxed themselves into the corner. Huge using those stabilizing beams now to get underneath. And they have a hold on Reticle and get them into the screws. Huge off to a great start early, getting surprising amounts of control. But Reticle was able to escape. They were not flipped over by that engagement. But Huge just trying to put them right back in, start the whole thing over again. This is some great work by Huge early on. It's kind of surprising how they managed to get underneath, but they have, and they are dictating the pace of this fight. Reticle needs to get away and get that weapon back up to speed, or else it is going to get out-controlled by Huge. Truly, one of the statements of all time. But we've had a lot of weird things happen on this season. This would be one of the weirdest, probably. But Reticle on the screws for the third time this fight. They are able to escape this time and land a shot, but it doesn't seem like it's doing enough, and now Reticle is caught. Huge pushing Reticle onto the screws again, and they're looking for a knockout here. They're trying to end this fight, and they do it! Reticle out of the arena. Reticle landed one shot, and then Huge just took control of the fight after that. They got Reticle into the screws several times. They used those stabilizing beams to keep him in one position to completely dominate Reticle. I mean, that was just an absurd level of control for a bot like Huge. And even when Reticle was able to escape and finally get that weapon back up, Huge just stopped it right after the first shot, got them in the screws one more time, and somehow was able to push them out of the arena. And that was a surprisingly dominant performance by Huge. He puts both bots at 2-1, with a guaranteed tournament spot on the line for both of them in their next fights. Our penultimate fight sees two massive 1-1 vertical spinners take each other on. Deep Six and Retribution. Deep Six got annihilated by Cherry Blossom in this last fight, while Retribution had a very unfortunate loss to Eye of the Storm, and this led to Cobalt and Hammerhead flipped over. It's going to be very interesting to see these two left right. Both bots have incredibly potent weapons, but the reliability just is not there for the wedge specifically, and around in the case of Retribution, and the Deep Six just the whole bot can just fall apart at times. Kind of like the two can get that first and fourth shot to Retribution can. So right, Deep Six will fall apart eventually. Let's see who can take this win down from here. Let the bot battle begin. Both bots spinning their weapons up to speed, and Retribution is the one who gets underneath Deep Six. But it doesn't make anything out of that first engagement. Now they have Deep Six on his back, trying to get them onto the screws or out of the arena or something like that. Doesn't quite work, but good early control by Retribution. There's a little jab there from Deep Six. Ooh, and now Deep Six flipped again. Retribution trying to get them into the pit now, but Deep Six able to use that bar to get away. But they need to start landing some shots. It's Retribution who's getting the advantage of every one of these engagements. And Deep Six is in a very bad position right now. Absolutely struggling to keep up. And their Retribution is just having its way with Deep Six right now. They're on their side now. Retribution has the angle to do what they want. They're trying to get them out of the arena. But Deep Six finally able to get back up and get that mighty spinner back up to speed, but it just bounces off of Retribution's drum and flips the bot over. Not going well. Oh, there's another shot. Retribution in complete control of this fight now, as Deep Six has also lost its wedge somewhere. And oh my goodness, what a shot. Deep Six nearly goes out of the arena, somehow managing to climb its way back in, at least partially. And they're doing what, and they actually managed to get back in. Deep Six, a masterful escape artist, but they need to start doing some damage, and their weapon is also broken. Retribution and does not care for Deep Six's escape attempts. They're going for the kill here. And this might be it. Yep, that is it. Absolute domination by Retribution. Getting underneath Deep Six from the early going, ripping off the wedge, and Deep Six couldn't do anything after that. They kept bouncing off the drum and kept getting back up and getting back into the fight. But Retribution just did not care. They just kept throwing them all around. And then Deep Six was never able to fully regain its composure, never able to get that bar spinner where they wanted, to get a devastating knockout blow like we saw against spots like Onager and Unnecessary Violence in the past. This was just complete control from Retribution, and eventually they managed to get Deep Six out of the arena after a couple near misses. Retribution sits at 2-1 and finally is in a position to clinch a tournament spot for the first time in its career. Deep Six will need to win its next fight if it wants any shot of making the postseason at all. it's time for the main event. Mannerheim takes on Duck, two absolute bricks of the field. Neither bot really had good weapon power back in Season 2, but Mannerheim really has shown that its weapon is certainly improved at knocking out Snowfall in its second fight. Snowfall fell to 0-2 at the time, but would go on to win the Desperado tournament, while Duck defeated Bombshell, put them at 0-2, but they didn't even enter the Desperado at all. So, both bots looking for a big win against a big-time bot, and since both bots are sitting at 2-0, it's the perfect opportunity. As well as that, the winner of this fight will clinch a tournament spot. That's the winner, of course, going 3-0, which is very very for both these bots. Mannerheim and Duck both looking to get back in the tournament for the second season in a row. So it's going to come down to whether Duck's lifter can get underneath Mannerheim's big wedge, or if that wedge can get underneath and get some massive flips on Duck. Let's see what happens in the main event down the arena. Let the main event begin. Mannerheim getting underneath Duck, getting a flip in, and already bending that beak up. Ooh, there's a good flip. Duck sent flying. It's not really a good angle to flip on Duck. Mannerheim isn't designed the right way. Unless Duck gets completely on top of Mannerheim, aren't going to see any of the super big flips we've seen in Mannerheim's past two fights. The beak has come off, and that is going to be disastrous for Duck. They really can't get underneath Mannerheim now, and Mannerheim's not just going to crack apart. Ooh, there's a good flip. Mannerheim still getting some decent power out of the flip despite not having the best angle on the bots. There's one of the biggest we've seen of the match, and now the lifter is severely damaged, hanging on by a thread now as Mannerheim continues its assault. There, give Duck credit, it's still surviving. That's what it does best. The weapon is somehow still attached. Oh, it's no longer attached. But the frame is just completely fine. The main chassis of Duck is still going, but Mannerheim just gonna have free reign right now. No weapon of any sort on Duck, just a little stick to remind you what's left, and that is gonna be it. Absolute domination by Mannerheim. And sure, it wasn't as flashy as the past two fights we've seen. Duck did not go as high as Sawblaze and Snowfall did. But it was still control and flipping frenzy for the finish flipper. The beak came off, and then the whole weapon got damaged and then destroyed. Mannerheim lands some nice flips on a bot as awkward a bot as Duck. It was good to see that. Duck just could not find a counter for what Mannerheim was doing. They just couldn't do anything. Mannerheim now sits at 3-0. It's already clinched a tournament spot. And now with one fight left, you gotta wonder, are they shooting for the #1 seed? They certainly have the opportunity to, but we'll see if they can do that in their final fight.